What's up, guys? Duster McDangles back here with another video, and welcome back to the NHL season preview series. Here today we're going to be back into the Central Division, working our way to some playoff teams, and in today's episode we will be covering the Nashville Predators, where they were last year, where they finished, team stats, take a look at the players who have left the squad, players who they have brought in, and take a look at future projected lines and contracts, as we will finish off the video then breaking down what we think will happen to them this upcoming season. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video of the Nashville Predators. Taking a look at the Preds from last season, they had a pretty solid year, making the playoffs as the wild card 2 team with 97 total points on the season. They finished up with a record of 45, 30, and 7, which isn't too bad for a solid Central Division. Throughout the year, they were pretty much 500 every month. There were a few months where they were below. Actually, make that only one month where they were below, which was February. They went 3-5, and then they barely snuck into the playoffs as the Vegas Golden Knights were on their heels trying to get that second and final wild card spot. But taking a look at the team stats, the team finished up with goals for ranked 12th, goals against they were 16th. They had a power play of 24.4%, which isn't too bad at all, but their penalty kill was just below 80 at 79.2%. But with those team stats, they were good enough to just squeak into the playoffs, where they ended up losing in the first round in a sweep to the eventual Stanley Cup champion of the Colorado Avalanche. Total points, Roman Josi finished off the year with 96, leading the team in 80 games. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Matt Duchene had a very solid year as well, 86 points in 78 games played. Philip Forsberg, 84 in 69. Granlund, 64 and 80. Johansson, 63 and 79. And those are just some of the top players to note when it comes to team stats. UC Saros, also a bright spot on their squad last season, went 38, 25, and 3. He had a 2.64 goals against with a save percentage of 9.18. So not too bad when it comes to the stats, but let's go ahead, take a look at the players that have left the squad, take a look at the ones that they brought in, and then we'll take a look at the mock lines. When it comes to players in and out of the club, Nashville wasn't too busy in that regard, but the players that they brought in were very solid. I'd say more left than were brought in. So the players that left the Preds were Luke Kunin, David Riddick, and Matt Benning, all three players leaving the club. And the players that they brought in, again, quite a nice list here of players. Nino Niederreiter, they've brought in John Leonard, Ryan McDonough, Zach Samford, and Kevin Likkinen between the pipes to back up UC Saros. So a very solid list of players, both in and out. I'd say more so of the players that they brought in than the ones that left. Luke Kunin, I'd say the biggest player of note leaving the squad for the Preds. But taking a look now, we've thrown up the mock lines, and honestly, the Preds are looking pretty deep. I don't know why that second line center or second line left wing spot is looking blank at this point in time, but the top pair, Forsberg, Johansson, and Duchene, very solid. Then you got Granlund, Tollivan there on that second line. Again, I don't know why that second line left winger is empty. I would really think that you'd put Nino Niederreiter in on there with Granlund and Tollivan. On the third line, you got Sissons, Tiernan, and then Janot. And then on the fourth line, you've got Samford, Glass, and Tomasino. Very solid overall. I would think that their top 6 forwards are good enough to, again, make a push for the playoffs. But I would say if there are any injury bugs to the Preds this year, they could be in trouble for missing the playoffs. Now, on the back end, one of the best defensemen in the NHL, Roman Josi, paired there with Fabro. That's a very solid top pair. And now with the addition of McDonough, they are now 4 deep when it comes to defense. You got McDonough and Ekholm on that second line. A little bit slower, not as quick-footed as you would want them to be just with the age, but they are very solid defensemen. They've got the knowledge and experience. And then on the fourth pair, you got Carrier and Lazon. Again, very solid on the back end, but I am going to be worried if there are injuries this year to them. Saros and Likkinen between the pipes. Saros can expect another big year out of him unless he's hit with the injury bug. Fingers crossed that the Preds make the playoffs, because, man, their atmosphere during the playoffs is absolutely insane. Taking a look now at their contracts, when it comes to their big players, they are locked up for at least another year after this upcoming season. On the back end, you've got a couple guys on the bottom end. John Leonard, restricted deal coming up. Michael McCarron, he's got an unrestricted year coming up. Tanner Janot is going to be up, and then Marcus Newman has a restricted year coming up. Dante Fabro, I think, is their biggest contract expiring coming up this upcoming season. They got to lock him in. Now, the Preds are only looking at $2.3 million worth of cap space to work with when it comes to trying to get something going. It's going to be tough to try and sign him, but I feel like with his age, 24 years of age, also being a restricted year, I think they'll be able to work something out. Maybe give him like a 3x4, 3 years, $4 million each. Maybe a little bit of a bridge deal for when Ekholm or McDonough are done, since they're 33 and 32 respectively. But it's going to be interesting if they can lock him up. And I expect some big years from Philip Forsberg, who just signed the new ticket. Matt Duchene, we need a bounce back year for Ryan Johansson. Nito Niederreiter, who they just brought in. And then I think Colton Sissons, you can expect to have a big year, as well as I'm really got a sneaking suspicion that Tomasino and Tolvanen are going to have massive years as well. But now looking forward to the upcoming season, I expect it to be a little bit of the same of last year, where they might just barely squeak into the playoff picture, get either the first or second wild card spot. If they end up with around that 45 to 48 win mark, I would not be surprised. Again, 95 to that 105 point range, as long as they stay healthy. If the injury bug hits the Preds, let's say mid-season, it could be a tough road ahead to try and sneak into the playoffs, with other teams in the Central Division really fighting, especially the Winnipeg Jets, Dallas Stars, St. Louis Blues. I mean, the list goes on and on. You got the Wild, Avalanche. They're all very solid teams. And then you've got the Pacific Division, who they've got a couple of teams in there that they could also be battling for that wild card spot, more so than last year. So it'll be interesting if they can stay healthy. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I want to hear from the Nashville Predator fans out there. Who's going to have the biggest years? Roman Josi going to hit that 95, even 100-point mark this upcoming year? Is Ryan Johansson going to have a performance of a year that lives up to the standards of his contract? Are one of the young guys going to step up and really take charge of the Preds when it comes to the forward position? Tolvanen, Tomasino, are they going to have big years? Is Fabro going to have a massive breakout year, it being a contract year? And will Saros be able to stay healthy enough to battle for the Vezina? Those are all massive questions that I cannot wait to see unfold this upcoming season with the Preds. But again, let me know what you guys think. If you've made it this far in the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've been growing like crazy, and I cannot thank you guys enough for the love and support in the comments and likes on the videos. So thank you guys so much for that. But that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys have a good one, and as always, stay dusty.